Good morning. Today I'm gonna go work out of a coffee shop, and I wanted to test out the recording of sound through of sorts. So the bike is ready. Let's go. So I'm going to Plainfield today. There is a coffee shop called 10 Drops Coffee. I really like the coffee. A good place to sit and work from, and they serve good coffee as well. And plus, it'll be a good opportunity to test out the setup on the camera. So the last time I recorded a couple of logs, I was trying to capture the raw sounds of the motorcycle, and again, when you're trying to do that, there's a lot of you know testing which goes in, and you have to figure out what works, what doesn't work. So first of all, I'm using Osmo Nano to record everything for my video. And what I've noticed is the horizon balance on the camera works excellent. But I really needed it before because I was using a different bracket on my helmet. Now that I have the bracket or the mount right in the middle of the the helmet, the chances of camera tilting is very low. So this is why I've disabled the horizon balance first of all. The moment I go back to wide angle and remove the horizon balance, the footage is a lot wider. So initially I would do that, and then it'll only hardly get the mirrors. And with horizon balance off, at least what I've seen in the garage, it does capture the mirror. So you'll have a much better view of the sky and the motorcycle. So that's one. The second is I've disabled a bunch of controls. By the way, it's very, very windy. I don't know if I'll have to see in the once I get back to the computer how does it sound. But it's very, very windy and cold as well. By the way, it's around 55 degrees in the morning. Decently cold. Let's go straight. So yeah, so that's on the camera. So, and then the second thing, I was recording in 1080p, and this time around I've changed that to recording in 2K. I had noticed that the details which I would like to see, 1080p is 1080p, right? On a bigger TV it doesn't look fantastic. And third thing I've done from a video perspective is increase the frame rate from 30 FPS to 60 FPS. For a motorcycle ride, I think that should be a better look. Let's see. Again, like I said, I'm not following any recipes. I am testing and see what happens. So that's on the video camera. No horizon balance, set on video on wide, 2K, 60 frames per second. On the audio, what I've done is I've mounted it in the helmet on the right side. It's not right in front of my face. It's a little off center. So that's that. The second thing I've done is I have reduced the dB gain on the microphone, and I've set it to -12. So that should be decent. I had done another sound capture in this manner before, and the sound was pretty decent. The bigger thing is when you do the processing of these videos, you don't want to over process. I think one of the videos I made where I was driving around Naperville and Plainfield, I ended up over processing the audio, and it started to feel like as if There are pieces in between where you feel like as if this is underwater. So over processing is a problem. So today what I've done also is on the audio is I've reduced or switched off the noise reduction. The DJI Mic 2 which I have, its noise reduction is actually excellent, but I want to see what happens if I switch the noise reduction off. My belief is that microphone may not be able to distinguish or make a distinction between sounds coming from the motorcycle and sounds coming from the wind. So hence again another hypothesis. Let's see what happens. So today we are riding about 7 miles from my place, approximately that. Should be a decent ride. It's a fast ride most of the way until we get to Plainfield and very near to the coffee shop. The weather is very nice. It's a little cold for the motorcycle, and I'm not wearing any layers. I'm just wearing my jacket and gloves and regular pants. The motorcycle has done about 576 miles. So the mileage was going up, and then the weather changed, and then I started less and less riding. I also fell sick, so I've not been riding so much recently. Okay, so one of the things I want to talk in this this conversation is why I think, and I'll make a separate video also about it, by the way. I really think Royal Enfield motorcycles, they've really nailed, the motorcycle for most of the people. And again, I can talk about Super Meteor is probably very similar to this. It's just a different stance, but I think these bikes are like the perfect combination of practicality, fun, and power. That's my take. So since the time I've bought the motorcycle, this is not just a trophy motorcycle which sits in my garage and I take it out over the weekend and just for the bike meets and things like that. I regularly use this. In fact, if weather was not an issue and if my health for last 1 week was not an issue, I take the motorcycle everywhere, wherever I go. So from my perspective, this is a highly practical motorcycle. You could literally take it to your gym. You could take it to the grocery store, provided you're not bringing like a bucket load of things and you just want to bring in few things. You're picking somebody, you're dropping somebody. It's just phenomenal ride from that perspective. The stance is super comfortable. I can ride for 5 minutes, I can ride for a few hours. So stance is excellent, power is excellent. You can take it to a high-speed road without worrying that is this going to keep up with the traffic. I think that's the win-win for this motorcycle. Now, again, I'm not saying this is the only motorcycle in this category. There are probably more motorcycles and smaller motorcycles from Indian as well. But I think from a look perspective, from the price point, features, capability perspective, this nails it brilliantly. I'm yet to see a motorcycle which captures the essence of motorcycling across all of those points or aspects. So most of the motorcycles from Indian and Harley, first of all, they're bigger motorcycles. When I say big, think about the size as well as the engine sizes also. Most of them are bigger motorcycles. The price point is a lot higher. This is not a light motorcycle, but they are even heavier than that. And the kind of stance in most motorcycles I'm seeing, except for some motorcycles in Triumph, they're not very comfortable, I feel. They look great, by the way. Most of the motorcycles from Harley Davidson, they look just phenomenal. But the question being, and again, I'm not trying to preach to anybody. I'm sharing my point of view. I think this is an excellent motorcycle value proposition for everybody. Highly practical. You could take anywhere you want. You can have the weekend ride with your friends or yourself. You can be highly functional with this during the week as well, like I'm going right now. You can carry your backpack. You can do touring on this as well. So that's my belief on, or at least the experience here in the US. I have not had a motorcycle before this here in the US. So I've been pleasantly surprised how well this works. In fact, I cannot imagine if we were not living in Chicago and the winters and were not so crazy, especially if we were living in Atlanta like we used to. Having a motorcycle is just phenomenal. And of course, this is nothing related to Royal Enfield, but the experience on your motorcycle is so much more vivid, so much more lively. The whole experience is, and I've told this to some of my friends also, the whole experience is very, very vivid and a rich experience. In a car, in comparison to this, the experience is just so sterile. Right? There is no emotion. There is no elements that you feel. You're just sitting very comfortably, listening to music, and going around what you're going to do. And I feel at some point in time or at some level, we all want a little better experience in life. Especially as we get more and more comfortable in life, we want things which connect us back to who we are. I think motorcycling does that. You go in comparatively slower, cars can be a lot faster. You are up in the open. This is a naked bike. Even if you had a windshield, you're still very much in the open to the elements. Your field of view is huge in comparison to the car. Your footprint on the ground is a lot smaller. So I think this is an excellent experience overall. If the weather was nice, I cannot imagine living in Florida and having a motorcycle. Yeah, you have to deal with the heat, but it's just a phenomenal experience. So yeah, that's about it. I should be reaching my coffee shop in another 10 minutes. Let me know what you think, and once I get back home, I'll check the audio and see what is the quality. Had a good few hours spent here. Had a decent coffee, actually two coffees, and time to go home. I need to refuel as well on the way. So let's go. Right now it's on the last box of the trip meter on the fuel gauge, and what the classic 650 starts doing is starts to count. Once the yellow light comes on, it starts counting how many miles you've done after that. So it's a good neat feature. I've not run this extensively to see how long can the bike run after it turns yellow, but at a high level what I've done is I've seen that each box here represents roughly 25 miles. That's my analysis based on the size of the full tank. So, but no official way to know, or at least I have not looked up what's the real capacity. But yeah, when it comes yellow or that light turns yellow, it's reminding you that hey, time to refuel. So that's what we'll do. I'm going through the beautiful neighborhood of Plainfield. Plainfield is just gorgeous. Some of the portion is just phenomenally beautiful. I like this a lot. Straight ahead is the downtown Plainfield. Some again beautiful area. Today we are recording, so I'm just going to go through that and then head back to Naperville. If you can make out from my voice, I'm still stuffy, still recovering. The last bit of congestion hasn't gone away. So, but I'm still very thankful. Feeling so much better today to come out. The weather is nice. Not very cold, not hot. Actually, very good weather for running, and except for the windy part. And very good weather to be outside if you're lucky to be walking outside at this time of the day. This is the main area, the shopping area of Plainfield. Looks fantastic. And there are some biker boys here. We've not really spent any time in this area, by the way. I've only come down for coffee. One of the days with family I have to come down, just spend some time here, eat here, find a good place. But yeah, it looks beautiful. This is the downtown Plainfield in Illinois. And we'll turn right here. Look at this beautiful, nice restaurant. A lot of massive windows. So we'll turn right here and head to Plainfield. By the way, I've not talked about it in any of my videos. So, this is another side of my personality. I'm a big coffee buff or coffee snob. Love to drink coffee. Always had that interest. But over last, say, 6-7 years, this has grown exponentially. So I make my own coffee at home. I have a decent coffee machine. It's not the very nice machine or anything. It's from Versh, but it's become a routine of sorts. So I have my own espresso. Big fan of espressos, by the way, and always looking for good beans, good coffee nearby. This coffee shop I came to, Trend Drops Coffee, I've been frequenting this place Very good variety. And they sell a lot of good coffee also. They are a roastery also. They roast, they buy beans and they roast them here. So it's one of those shops. In fact, they sell the bean bags also, the big bags, the jute bags in which the bean comes. They sell those in case somebody wants a souvenir. So overall, I like this place a lot. Very good coffee. The whole coffee scene around Naperville is actually exploding. We are going away from the traditional Starbucks-led coffee experience. I think that is shifting significantly, especially in Naperville. We have seen a lot of investment inflow of the Yemeni coffees here in the region. Not only they bring some very good coffee, by the way, they also bring in the whole experience side of things. And this is something which you experience if you were in India or in the Middle East, especially if you spend some time in Dubai. The whole coffee culture is just phenomenal. You go to these coffee shops, they look amazing, they look like $1,000,000. The whole experience of the silverware there, the food, the service, the entire ecosystem, it feels just amazing to be there. Yeah, and because of that, the coffee and overall price of the food is a little higher, but nothing extraordinary. Especially given the fact that when you compare it to Starbucks, the price is marginally higher, but the experience is exponentially better. So the whole coffee scene is exploding. Here in Naperville. Some very good coffee shops have come in. In fact, before I started brewing my coffee, I would still go to Starbucks once in a while, especially if I had to meet someone. But after I've started to brew coffee, this is like many years ago, I don't actually go to Starbucks at all. I hate their coffee. The best coffee I used to like from Starbucks was Cafe Verona. Had those sweeter notes in it. But I've stopped going to Starbucks completely. And after these new shops have come in, we have at least 7 or 8 new coffee shops around us within the radius of about 3 miles. So there is absolutely no reason for someone to go to Starbucks, to be honest. The whole idea of exclusivity and it being a very high quality coffee, and I've never liked their coffee, by the way. But yes, they've created an amazing brand for themselves. So people, not so much in the US, but everywhere else, people flaunt the fact that they're drinking a Starbucks coffee from a Starbucks cup. And this is where the branding plays such a big role in the big scheme of things. But if you're really a coffee lover, I don't think Starbucks is the place at all. For that matter, I think McDonald's makes a better cup of coffee than Starbucks. It is cheaper, faster, better quality coffee. And by the way, when I talk about coffee, I don't drink any fancy drinks. I generally either have espresso or a black coffee. Starbucks, their espresso is horrible. And that's just me. Maybe you like it. I hate it. It's bitter. It has no body, no personality. So the whole espresso experience, and if you have only had Starbucks coffee before, it's hard for me to explain what you're missing. Otherwise, drinking espresso by itself should be more than enough. Some people want to drink black coffee because they just want more of it, and espresso is like 2 ounce, 3 ounce drink. It's a very small drink. You drink and move on, but otherwise espresso should be more than sufficient. And there is ton of variety available in terms of the taste and the notes in it. This whole area of Naperville and Plainfield and the near arounds have become very busy recently, what I've noticed. Anywhere you go, there is a lot of construction going on. A bunch of roads have been closed out for different reasons. So it's just gotten very busy around here. Just few years back, you could just ride around at this time of the day and it was never this bad. And to be honest, it's not very bad also. We're moving. But I'm seeing a lot of trucks, front, right and center. I'm talking about that. Okay, we are about 6 miles away from the coffee shop. Definitely need to refuel. I think I'm going to stop here. Or you know what? I'm going to stop next to my place. There is a Shell on that corner. Let's go there. So there are 1, 2, 3. So at least out of the 4 corners here, 3 corners are taken by gas stations. It is very, very windy. I don't know. Once I get to the computer, I'll know what kind of noise we are getting, but it is very windy.